the most important movement that you're ever going to need to learn when you're kettlebell training is the hip hinge. This is probably the thing that I see the biggest mistake with when I'm teaching kettlebells. So, the hip hinge basically involves pushing the hips backwards whilst keeping the lower back nice and flat, driving the hips forwards and then squeezing the buttocks nice and tight. So if I show you from the side, hips are going to go backwards. See how there's that arch in my lower back? You don't want to be rolling the shoulders forwards. You want to have the chest up so you've got that arch in the lower back. And then we drive the hips forwards. Most importantly, your weight is at the back of your body. So the weight is on my heels. I'm loading my hamstrings, which are the muscles that run from the bottom of my pelvis down the back to the back of my knee. And I'm also loading my glutes as well, which are the biggest muscles in the body. We want to work the glutes because then we're going to use more energy, burn more calories, etc. It's also the strongest muscle in the body too. So weights on my heels, push those buttocks backwards, and then I drive the hips forwards and I squeeze my buttocks tight at the top, keeping my chest nice and high. What you don't do is lean backwards this way. You stop at a nice straight backed position. If you think about standing tall and pushing your head towards the sky. So you just want to practice this hip hinge exercise. See that snap in the hips? That's really important. Stopping dead. You want that little jolt in the body. Now what you'll find is if you're tight in the hamstrings, you won't be able to go down too far without rounding your back. So you need to find your natural mobility there. So if you can only go down to there before you feel it pulling you forwards, then that's just as far as you need to go. If you've got flexible hamstrings, you might be able to go further. Find your natural depth, making sure you keep that back nice and flat. Eyes are going to look down at 45 degrees, so we want that neck to be nice and in line with the upper back as well. We don't want to crane the neck backwards this way. So looking down, snapping the hips, and I recommend you just practice that. Try doing 20 or 30 snaps, standing tall, just clenching those buttocks and really focusing on that lower back. So that's the hip hinge, and that's part of the deadlift movement pattern which we're going to use for all of the swing based exercises.